Have you found joy in anything this week? Has anything made you happy? Harrison says yes. That's awesome. Where did that come from? Where did that joy come from? Child's laughter, something good happening to you? Did you count it all joy when you had a flat tire or stumbled a little bit in your house or had something maybe more catastrophic happen to you? But let's look at for a second here in James chapter 1, verses 2 through 8. Count it all joy, my brothers, when you meet trials of various kinds. For you know that the testing of your faith produces steadfastness. And let steadfastness have its full effect, that you may be perfect and complete, lacking in nothing. If any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask of God, who gives generously to all without reproach, and it will be given to him. But let him ask in faith, with no doubting. For the one who doubts is like a wave of the sea, driven and tossed by the wind. For that person must not suppose that he will receive anything from the Lord. He is a double-minded man, unstable in all his ways. When do we most often look at this passage? When something big and terrible is going on in our life and we have to make sense of it, and why do these things happen to us? But is that what this passage is talking about? Maybe at times. It's talking about trials of all kinds. Have you had small trials this week? Have you had things that didn't go your way or just inconvenience? Can you look back over the years and amass those things in your mind? Probably. We all can. I am the least qualified person here to talk about science. But there's I did take a few years of botany, so maybe I am qualified for this. But thigmogenesis is a concept. Rick, is this something familiar to you? It's the concept where the wind strengthens the tree, right? And so through the tilting of the tree, creating vacancies around the root and creating cellular level strengthening in the trunk, the tree gets bigger, it gets stronger, its roots are deeper. And each trial, each wind that comes, it's not the hurricane that comes and strengthens the tree. It's the various winds of the day-to-day life that the tree goes through. And I do think when catastrophic events come and we look for faith and hope in those moments, James is just as much of a comfort. But on a Wednesday night, in a day like today, I'd ask you to consider just how hard this week has been. And maybe we need to stop and give thanks, give blessings for what we've struggled through this week. The value of trials, both big and small, is that they're opportunities for growth. And we need to be steadfast in each of those trials. Just like the waves are relentless on the beach, if you were sitting there without a chair maybe and just rolling back and forth in the waves, it would never stop. It would beat you up over time. And James is calling us to be steadfast in this moment, not driven about with doubt, not driven about without conviction, but to be steadfast in the small waves that come through us each day. And the risk of not being steadfast is that each wave is an experience opportunity. And if we pass it up, we can never go back to collect it again. So when the hurricane does come, if we haven't been collecting successes of steadfastness, trusting in God, trusting in His wisdom that He gives, we will not be ready for the big trial that comes. We see this passage and the concepts with it several times throughout the New Testament. We know that God will not give us anything more than we can withstand. But sometimes that comes from hardening ourselves over time and producing an even greater root system in our faith and trust in Him. And in Romans 3 and verse 5, we understand how suffering just leads to perseverance. We see it in our kids. We need to push our kids through trials and hardships to grow. The caterpillar metaphor comes to mind there, and something that we all know. So we must have these trials, but even more so, we must have steadfastness. If you need to pass the test of the first trial, where do we get that? We get it from asking God, who gives to all liberally. Isn't that an amazing scripture? Not just like, yeah, he'll cut you the check on the side and move up. He's heaping this wisdom upon you to be able to make it through these trials. What a generous and gracious Father. And all we have to do is start with the next one. Let's be steadfast through tomorrow and be grateful for these opportunities that we get. If you have no root system, or if you've let it fade away, we're here to support you. We're here to be a family and stand with you as we all try to deepen our faith and strengthen our steadfastness in the scriptures and in our love for God. If we can help you start down that journey, please come forward while we stand and sing.